Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open outside of New York City in the chemical capital of the world, Tromaville. One day the nuclear power plant springs a leak, which is all it takes to contaminate the town's water supply and mutate their crops. The plump plant manager Mr. Paley tells the governor that everything will be fine as he doesn't want to be investigated by the Safety Commission. He sends out a few teams to contain the mess, but less than a mile away is the local high school containing a bunch of 30-year-old students. A gang of cretins led by Spike were once clean-cut honorary students until one day they just suddenly began beating everybody up. Chemicals from the plant leak into the water system, and one nerd named Dewey is the first to be contaminated when the drinking fountain turns green. He goes to class where the teacher informs the students that they all suck at English studies except for Dewey, who gets an A++. When the wind-swept Principal Wesley announces a radiation drill, the students all stand against the wall, but our nerd begins acting strange. He begins rubbing against Greg's face until getting overly aggressive and foaming green at the mouth while trying to kill him. Our main protagonist Warren socks him in the face, but it doesn't have much effect, so Dewey just strikes him back. As the chemicals begin melting him from the inside, Dewey leaps out of the window and onto the pavement below. The whole time the cretins cheer for the violence, or possibly the makeup department, as they bring to life Dewey melting into the cement. Mr. Paley simply covers this up by telling the media that the main contributing factor to Dewey's death was owning not one but two microwaves. Later in the day, Warren's girlfriend Chrissy remarks about the workers from the plant gradually getting closer to the school. Their friend Eddie's the type of guy to turn the science lab's laser into a penis and almost burn down this whole place. Along with his girlfriend Kathy, they blow off their next class to go fool around in the school's fallout shelter. They begin making out on a dirty mattress when nuclear waste seeps in through the ceiling and drips onto Kathy's stomach. Assuming that Eddie just hit her with the baby batter, she smacks him into a pile of contaminated survival crackers and runs away. Next time we see Ed, he's all cleaned up and Chrissy's talking about her suspicion that the power plant is behind these strange happenings. At recess they find out about a party and discuss going together, but Chrissy and Warren aren't the partying types. The cretins are going around hustling other students into buying their dope, and if they can't pay, then Muffey beats the crap out of them. She uses her set of watermelon crushers on their heads and steps on their balls, but also stands to use the John herself, so make of that what you will. At the bake sale, her painted pig of a boyfriend Gonzo rides his motorbike through the giant cake, ruining the event for everyone. He's then told by the chicken Spud that they need to pick up some more devil's lettuce from their dealer over at the power plant. An engineer grows it out back because the radiation makes it grow faster, but has been infecting the gang for months. They bring the supply back to school, where the one with the massive ponytail, Pete, makes the sales. He convinces Eddie to buy a joint because he says that it'll make Warren and Chrissy agreeable enough to go to the party tonight. The chemicals also allow the cretins to pass their infliction on to others, as Spike kisses the hot German teacher Ms. Stein on his way to class. The next time we see her, Stein has gone full cretin and is painting her face while shagging her same-age students in the bathroom. That night at the indoor bikini-themed party, it sees all of the girls barely dressed while the boys get to be completely covered. Warren and Chrissy arrive and immediately regret it, with a contributing factor being the girl in the corner drinking her sunscreen. Eddie sticks the contaminated joint in Warren's complainer and convinces the pair to lighten up as they share it between them. Disgusted, Warren throws it on the floor and it's trampled by other partygoers before anyone else can try it. Feeling sick and wanting to see a movie, Chrissy goes upstairs to get their coats, however she starts to feel all funny inside. The nuclear plants have an aphrodisiac effect, so Warren comes upstairs to find his girlfriend's mood has completely changed. That night they have sex for the first time while the friends watch from the sidelines, and afterwards Warren walks Chrissy home with no movie. While sleeping in their own beds, Warren starts to mutate into a zombie and his tallywhacker grows into a towering manhood. He also grows a set of boobs, while over at Chrissy's her belly starts to grow as if she suddenly stumbled into a third trimester. A little worm thing sprouts out of her belly button when both wake up, assuming that it was all just some terrible nightmare. At school the next day, Warren learns that Eddie got the joint from the cretins, which makes him angry because he thinks it was laced. They're still feeling sick, so Warren wants to do something about it, but Chrissy doesn't want him to get hurt, so tells him to sit down. Going home to try get some sleep, Warren affects the electronic devices before transforming into a raging zombie with a bubbly head. He goes out to find the cretins, who are currently pulling the old Alka-Seltzer trick and faking epileptic seizures in front of old ladies. It's in order to steal their purses, but makes no sense because Spike just beats the absolute crap out of them anyway. Warren comes across Pete making a deal and they think he's trying to pull a fake seizure of his own because of the green slime coming out of his mouth. Simply punching him causes Pete's fist to fall off the bones, and the toxic Warren melts the cretin's throat just by choking him. He dispatches the other guy, then knocks Spike unconscious before jamming his whole arm down Pete's throat and killing the bully. When he recovers, Spike tells the rest of the cretins that their friend's killer looked like Warren, but they all just laugh at the notion. Meanwhile at cheerleader practice, Chrissy feels a pain in her stomach, so she rushes to the bathroom where her nightmare becomes real. She's suddenly pregnant and goes into a stall to vomit up a little tadpole monster, which isn't typical of a normal human birth. Chrissy is then brought to the hospital where the doctor tells her mother that she recently suffered a full-term miscarriage. Naturally, the mother thinks that Warren had something to do with it, who now looks normal and arrives to comfort his girlfriend. During this time, some student flushes their mutant offspring down the toilet and it makes its way through the pipes into the fallout shelter. When Warren returns to school, Muffey is attacking some nerdy kid in the bathroom with aggressive kisses. Spike and Gonzo come in to extort the kid out of money, but our urinating hero recognizes that they're about to poison another student. He rips out Gonzo's nose rings and knocks out the muff with a single punch, but Spike gives him some trouble. You would think Warren hulks out like before, but that was just a one-time thing and the cretins eventually overpower him. A teacher walks in and breaks up the fight before bringing the whole gang of cretins down to the principal's office for punishment. He expels them, which means they'll no longer have their customers, but for some reason they just start singing the Star-Spangled Banner. It's not until later at their junkyard hideout when it hits them that expulsion has led to a complete collapse in their business. They begin to turn on Spike, but he claims to have an idea of how to get even at the principal and Warren all at once. Workers from the plant start dropping like flies around the school, leading to the complete shutdown of Troma High. While investigating the radiation levels, one of the workers stumbles upon the fallout shelter where the readings are at their highest. The mutant offspring has grown to a tremendous size due to the radiation and slashes the man's face before dragging him under the water. Outside, the cretins arrive and talk about their plan to take over the school before forcing their way into the principal's office. They tie him up and set off the emergency evacuation alarm when a secretary enters, so the chicken blows her away. It causes chaos in the school as kids funnel out the doors and into the parking lot, but Chrissy has been kidnapped by Muffey. She delivers her to another girl called Taru, who brings her down to the fallout shelter where, along with Spike, they hold her hostage. They cut her hand and the former science major does some weird stuff like rub the blood all over her mouth and chest. Muffey comes up to Warren in the crowd of people to deliver his girlfriend's bloody necklace and lure him back inside. As he re-enters the school, the cretins ride their motorcycles through the hallways and begin vandalizing for like 5 minutes of film. As they're distracted doing that, Warren gets to the fallout shelter where Spike and Taru are waiting for him. They plan to torture Chrissy in front of him and come to the decision that they'll begin by sawing off the girlfriend's nipples. Before they can snip a nip, however, the mother's mutated miscarriage climbs out of the barrel, a giant overgrown mess. It punches straight through Taru's head and goes on a rampage while Warren carries Chrissy out like a piece of luggage. Spike manages to flee while the next cretin to be killed is the boy with pointy boobs when the creature smacks him in the face. Gonzo comes up to find his friend dying and begins licking his wounds when the offspring impales him in the back of the head. Spud probably could have got away when Muffey spray paints the monster's face, but he breaks in surprise, getting his head ripped off. That's the last we see of Muffey, while the flock of fascists takes a few pot shots at the fleeing couple, but that's the last we see of him also. He was just there to chase Warren and Chrissy into the science lab where the last cretin Spike catches them dead to rights. Before he can shoot them both, Warren still doesn't hulk out and needs them to be saved by the arrival of the monster. It drags Spike away from his weapon, then kills him when it fills his face with his namesake, like this thing evolved from an echidna. It doesn't matter that this creature is the offspring of Chrissy, it still tries to kill its mother, so Dad picks up the penis laser. He fires it at Warren Jr., then along with Chrissy flees the school, passing an arriving Mr. Paley on the way out. The laser, making contact with radioactive isotopes, causes a massive explosion, just like the beaker drinking teacher warned Eddie about. Paley blows up along with anyone else left inside the building while the students celebrate an inevitable shutdown for remodeling. Warren and Chrissy victory kiss as a bulldozer gets to work, but another mutant baby is shown surviving the explosion. And the movie ends.